Good morning, everyone. Respected principal, honorable teachers, and my dear fellow students. Today I stand before you to speak on a topic that holds immense importance in every learner's journey. Teacher or master, there is a subtle yet powerful distinction between being a teacher and being a master. While both guide us through knowledge, their approach, influence, and legacy often set them apart. A teacher instructs, explains, and ensures that concepts are understood. A master, however, does more. A master ignites a fire within, cultivates discipline, and transforms the learner into something greater than they thought possible. The difference between a teacher and a master begins with their foundational role in the learning journey. A teacher primarily imparts knowledge. They introduce concepts, explain theories, assign tasks, and evaluate performance. Their primary goal is to ensure the learner understands the material and can apply it as required. They are the ones who build the academic base. Without teachers, society would lack the trained individuals necessary for progress. They nurture intellectual growth by providing answers and helping students make sense of the information. However, this process often remains within the boundaries of textbooks. In contrast, a master operates on a deeper and more personal level. A master is not just concerned with whether a student remembers facts, but whether that knowledge changes who the student becomes. Masters teach by example, embodying the very principles they expect their students to learn. They don't only instruct, they live their lessons. Through their presence, their expectations, and often their silence, they create an atmosphere that compels introspection, discipline, and transformation. A master's objective is not limited to performance on tests, but is instead centered on awakening the learner's inner potential, forging identity, and instilling values that last a lifetime. The teacher's domain is often the classroom, structured periods, and scheduled interactions. Meanwhile, a master's influence extends beyond time and space. A student may spend only a few hours with a teacher, but a master's lessons echo throughout life. Masters push boundaries, not always giving answers, but encouraging questions. They guide learners through experiences, sometimes confusing, sometimes difficult, to let wisdom grow naturally. This is because a master sees beyond the surface and aims to cultivate insight, not just information. Their work is invisible yet profound, often not fully understood until years later, when their students realize how deeply they've been changed. While both roles are vital and valuable, it is this difference in depth and intention that separates a teacher from a master. A teacher serves the mind, a master reaches the heart. A teacher delivers instruction, a master delivers transformation. It is the master's relentless commitment to the learner's entire being, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, that creates a lasting impact. They refine the character, mold the habits, and alter the way one perceives the world. In doing so, they become not just instructors but catalysts for life-altering change, earning reverence and gratitude that often transcends generations. The scope of influence held by a teacher is undoubtedly significant. A teacher plays a pivotal role in helping students understand specific subjects, be it mathematics, literature, history, or science. Their primary mission is to deliver academic content clearly and effectively, ensuring that learners grasp essential facts, concepts, and frameworks. Through lesson planning, lectures, assessments, and feedback, teachers guide students toward achieving educational goals. Their influence is often confined to their subject expertise, and their responsibility usually ends once the material is understood and tested. This model is critical for building foundational knowledge and academic excellence, and every educated individual owes much of their growth to dedicated teachers. However, a master's reach extends far beyond the boundaries of any subject. A master might begin with the same academic tools, but their real impact is on the life of the learner as a whole. They teach through example, not just by delivering information, but by cultivating wisdom, resilience, emotional strength, and ethical clarity. Where a teacher might help a student solve a math problem, a master uses that problem as a metaphor to teach about patience, focus, or perseverance. The lessons taught by masters often transcend the classroom, equipping students with life skills that are deeply rooted in self-centeredness and reflective thinking. Their classroom becomes a space not just of learning, but of becoming. What makes the master's influence so unique is how deeply it resonates within the learner. The mind is trained to understand facts, but the soul is shaped through experience, introspection, and meaningful encounters, all of which a master provides. Masters often recognize talents, fears, or inner strengths in their students that the students themselves may not see, through subtle guidance or powerful challenges. Unlike teachers who may focus on grades and completion, masters concern themselves with the student's journey, their values, choices, and ability to handle life's uncertainties. This transformative influence embeds itself in the student's identity and often becomes part of their moral compass. Furthermore, while the effect of a teacher is often measured in academic progress or career outcomes, the influence of a master is far more internal and long-lasting. A teacher might be remembered for helping a student pass a difficult course. A master is remembered for helping someone become a better human being. Masters do not just shape thinkers, they shape leaders, creators, and visionaries. They are remembered in moments of difficulty, recalled during life's turning points, and honored silently when values are tested. The power of their teaching lies not in facts memorized, but in the wisdom lived. A kind of influence that defines not just what the student knows, but who the student becomes. A teacher's approach to learning is often rooted in clarity, consistency, and a structured methodology. Teachers prepare lesson plans with defined objectives, guided by the curriculum and learning outcomes. They present information systematically, assess comprehension through tests and assignments, and provide feedback to help students improve. This process ensures that all learners are on the same page and that progress is measurable. The classroom is a place of security and repetition, where concepts are introduced step by step and reinforced through revision. This structured approach supports students in navigating the complexity of academic subjects without feeling overwhelmed. Masters, on the other hand, embrace a more dynamic and immersive approach. While they may use traditional teaching methods as a foundation, they often deviate from standard practices to ignite deeper thinking and transformation. A master may intentionally introduce ambiguity, provoke questions, or challenge assumptions, not to confuse the learner, but to stimulate reflection. This form of teaching isn't about ease or comfort. It's about growth, which often emerges through discomfort. Masters ask more of their students than memorization or participation. They expect attention, introspection, and an active willingness to change. Their method is not always predictable, but it is always purposeful. The corrections made by master are often more personal and profound. Where a teacher might highlight errors in a test, a master might correct behavior, attitude, or thought patterns. They observe how students respond under pressure, how they react to failure, or how they deal with distractions. Their corrections are not punitive but developmental, aimed at refining the learner's discipline and character. Masters are not satisfied with surface-level understanding. They want learners to internalize principles, to think independently, and to act with conviction. Their influence often requires students to go beyond compliance and embrace true self-improvement. Furthermore, the master's learning approach continues even after the classroom experience ends. Students of a master often find themselves reflecting on their mentor's words and methods long after formal instruction is over. This lasting impact is possible because the master does not merely fill the student with information. They ignite a lifelong process of inquiry and self-examination. The master's approach challenges students to redefine their limits, expand their perspectives, and take responsibility for their own growth. As a result, learning becomes not just an academic process, but a continuous personal evolution that stretches into every corner of life. The appreciation for teachers is often immediate and tangible. During our school days, we express gratitude toward teachers who help us pass exams, explain difficult lessons, or show kindness in moments of need. Their support becomes evident in our daily academic routines, and we remember their names and gestures with fondness, especially when they go the extra mile to help us succeed. A good teacher builds a nurturing environment in the classroom, where students feel safe to ask questions and explore ideas. This environment fosters a sense of respect and admiration for the teacher, which is often acknowledged through school functions, awards, or even simple thank you notes. The impact of a teacher is strong and sincere, particularly within the time frame of the academic experience. However, the legacy of a master is not always immediate. It reveals itself gradually, often in the most unexpected stages of life. What seemed like hardship in the moment begins to feel like a gift in hindsight. Former students find themselves repeating their master's teachings, applying their wisdom, and even emulating their behavior. The emotional and intellectual mark left by a master is far more profound than what is evident on the surface. Unlike a teacher whose influence may be confined to classroom achievements, a master's impact often stretches into the very framework of a student's identity. Students carry the master's lessons not just in notebooks, but in their character, in how they lead, how they persevere, and how they view the world. The legacy of a master often becomes part of the student's moral compass. Long after the facts and figures are forgotten, the tone of the master's voice, the intensity of their gaze, or the depth of a particular conversation remains etched in memory. These impressions shape how individuals handle adversity, make decisions, and relate to others. It's not about content, it's about consciousness. A teacher may be remembered during graduation or reunion with warm regards and respectful applause, but a master is remembered in moments of solitude, in crisis, in leadership, and in legacy. Their presence lingers even in their absence. The impact of a master becomes part of stories passed down through generations, tales of how a certain individual changed the course of a life. Through wisdom, conviction, and unwavering belief, their influence transcends academic timelines and becomes spiritual or philosophical in nature. They are not just educators. They become life mentors whose lessons continue to unfold as students evolve and encounter new dimensions of life. Discipline plays a foundational role in any learning environment, and both teachers and masters implement it in their own ways. Teachers typically maintain classroom order by setting clear rules and expectations. They expect punctuality, completion of homework, attentiveness during lectures, and respectful behavior. These guidelines help students remain focused and responsible. Through such discipline, teachers prepare students to meet academic deadlines, follow instructions, and work cooperatively in structured environments. These habits are valuable not just for school, but also for future workplaces and social settings, where order and compliance are essential for functioning effectively within systems. Masters, however, instill discipline at a much deeper level. Their idea of discipline isn't just about rules, it's about inner mastery. They train students not just to follow orders, but to cultivate self-awareness, patience, endurance, and the ability to delay gratification. A master may appear strict, sometimes even unyielding, because they do not compromise when it comes to excellence. Their standards are high, and they expect learners to rise up to meet them. This might mean repeating a task countless times, revisiting one's mistakes without complaint, or enduring long periods of silence to contemplate one's flaws. It is through this demanding structure that learners begin to build resilience, a key ingredient in both personal and intellectual growth. What may feel like pressure in the beginning often becomes a source of inner strength in the long run. The strict methods employed by a master force students to confront their limitations, not to humiliate them, but to help them surpass those very limits. Masters do not accept excuses or mediocrity. Instead, they push learners to refine their thoughts, their actions, and their emotional. The boundaries they push are not just academic, they're emotional, psychological, and spiritual. Students are made to work hard, think deeply, and reflect honestly. While this process can be uncomfortable, it eventually cultivates an extraordinary level of focus, discipline, and mental fortitude that becomes second nature. Through this disciplined approach, growth becomes inevitable, not just in skill, but in character. Masters mold individuals who are not only intelligent, but also wise, not only competent, but also courageous. Their discipline methods strip away laziness, impulsiveness, and doubt, replacing them with perseverance, humility, and clarity. The students who undergo this transformation may not recognize it immediately, but over time they begin to realize how much they have grown. They begin to realize how much they have grown. They become better thinkers, stronger decision makers, and more balanced human beings. not because it was easy, but because it was rigorous. The discipline taught by master, though tough, becomes a compass for life's many challenges. In today's fast-paced and technologically driven world, learning has become more accessible than ever before. Information is available at our fingertips. Search engines provide instant answers, online courses offer certifications, and apps simplify complex topics. While this rapid access to knowledge is undoubtedly a benefit, it also fosters a form of superficial learning. Many students now prioritize speed over depth, memorization over understanding, and results over reflection. As a result, education often becomes a checklist of goals rather than a journey of true comprehension. In this context, while traditional teachers can help deliver content, the need for masters, those who insist on depth, thought, and transformation, has never been more urgent. A master doesn't just teach facts. They train students not to follow blindly, but to ask why, and what does this mean for me and the world around me. The arms are beautiful to accept through noise. They trained students not to follow blindly, but to ask why. This kind of instruction goes beyond the boundaries of the classroom and becomes a life skill. Masters do not just sharpen the mind, they refine the soul, giving learners the tools to navigate an increasingly complex and unpredictable world. We'll see a few more. The character formation that masters instill is more essential now than ever. The modern world, with its pressures of competition, instant gratification, and social comparison, often erodes the values of patience, humility, and perseverance. Many students, though intellectually capable, struggle with emotional and ethical resilience. This is where a master, through real conversations, intense challenges, and sometimes harsh truths, masters shape the inner world of the student. They focus not just on how to achieve success, but on how to handle failure, how to make ethical choices, and how to grow through adversity. These lessons cannot be Googled or downloaded. They must be lived and experienced under the guidance of someone who understands the terrain. In this age of digital overload and emotional fragility, the influence of a master becomes more vital than ever. While technology can teach you how to do something, a master teaches you why it matters. While a course can give you a certificate, a master gives you clarity and purpose. Modern education systems are often criticized for producing students who are technically skilled but lack direction and resilience. Masters fill this void by developing the complete individual, one who is thoughtful, disciplined, morally anchored, and emotionally stable. Their presence is not just helpful, it is essential in restoring depth, meaning, and humanity to learning in our modern age. Respecting teachers is one of the core values in any society. They are the ones who help shape our foundational understanding of the world, our ability to communicate, and our awareness of different disciplines. From the alphabet to advanced theories, teachers are the guiding hands that carry us forward through various stages of education. Their patience, effort, and dedication deserve gratitude and admiration. They often work tirelessly behind the scenes, preparing lessons, checking assignments, and ensuring that each student gets the attention they need. The contributions of teachers create the backbone of educated societies, and for that alone, they earn a place of high esteem in every learner's heart. But while every teacher deserves respect, there is something uniquely inspiring about a master. A master does not simply enter a student's life to fulfill a role. They enter to shape destiny. Their presence demands more than acknowledgement. It calls for deep appreciation. Masters are rare because their commitment runs deeper. Their expectations are higher and their influence more personal. They see what a student can become and tirelessly work to pull that potential into reality. Appreciating a master is not just about words or gestures. It's about embodying their teachings in everyday life, remembering their voice in moments of crisis, and living with the strength and clarity they instilled. Recognizing masters around us requires awareness and humility. Not all masters wear the title of teacher. Sometimes they are coaches, elders, mentors, or even friends who challenge us beyond our comfort zones. The world is full of teachers, but masters are few and far between. Not because they are hidden, but because they are only truly revealed when the student is ready to receive them. It takes reflection to understand their value and courage to walk their path. Honoring a master is a lifelong commitment, and for those who are fortunate enough to experience such guidance, that bond becomes sacred. Their influence becomes part of one's internal compass, silently guiding choices and thoughts long after the formal relationship ends. Perhaps the most powerful aspiration one can hold is to become a master oneself, not for recognition, but for impact. To live in such a way that your presence elevates others, that your words carry meaning, and that your actions shape character. This is the legacy of a true master. It requires lifelong learning, deep self-discipline, and an unwavering commitment to truth, wisdom, and compassion. While being a teacher requires knowledge, being a master requires transformation. The journey is demanding, but those who pursue it give the world something far greater than lessons. The journey is demanding. They are reached for the extraordinary, and in doing so, they are reached for the extraordinary. In the journey of learning, we encounter many teachers who help us move forward step by step, and for that, they deserve our utmost respect. But every once in a while, we meet someone who challenges us, molds us, and pushes us to evolve beyond our limits. A true master, they do not just teach us lessons from a book, but help us write the story of our character. In a world that often chases quick results and surface-level success, it is the influence of a master that brings depth, meaning, and purpose to our lives. Let us cherish every teacher who touches our minds, but let us also honor the masters who transform our souls.